Squad.
What up, man? Welcome to another episode of Squad Talk. That's right, man. Interesting conversations with interesting people. You know, I like to have artists, right? Entrepreneurs. Today, we got a good homie. He's a DJ, and not just any DJ. Let me drop some bombs on you, man. He has been in the business for a long time. He was at 100.9 The Heat from 2008 to 2012. He's an instructor at Scratch Academy. He's in the DJ world, you know, market for the LA and Hollywood scene for 15 plus years. He's a mix show radio DJ for iHeartRadio on 93.9 The Beat Honolulu. That's right. And he also helps with the programming for Talib Kweli's radio station. Damn. That is a resume right there. What's going on, my boy? Welcome to the podcast.
What's up, man? What's up? How we doing, man? How we doing?
DJ Gravity, man.
Yes, indeed.
I've never actually asked this. Is it DJ Gravity 1, or did you drop the 1 at some point and just go by DJ Gravity?
So I initially started out as like DJ Gravity, and like once all that social media stuff started happening, and I started to realize when I go to set up a name, there was always DJ Gravity. I'm like, who's this clown? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And then I could never like get anything just DJ Gravity. So I was like, all right, how am I gonna like, you know, make it mine? And I was like, well, I'm the one, you know what I mean? So I was like, I'll just add 1 at the end of it. And that's how DJ Gravity 1 came to be born. I was like, all right, so anytime there's new social media or whatever, I just go DJ Gravity 1, DJ Gravity 1.
You already got your TikTok unlocked?
I got everything unlocked. Everything's DJ Gravity 1. So whenever like, so it's like, okay, I could not lean into DJ Gravity and then have everybody like, well, why don't you call yourself Gravity 1? Because I only know you as Gravity 1 on this platform, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I was just like, officially, I'm DJ Gravity 1, right?
Yeah.
But you knew me as Gravity. Nobody's like, hey, Gravity 1, how are you doing? Right? Like everybody's like, oh, what's up, Gravity? And I'm like,
yeah.
What's up? You know what I mean? So it's not like if you don't call me Gravity 1, I'm not like, what's up with the 1? You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's up with the 1? You know what kind of annoys me was when people call me the full name, like they put DJ in front of Mav. Like I know the name is DJ Mav,
right?
But you could just call me Mav, you know. But some people will be like, "Hey, DJ Mav, what do you think about this?" Or like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like,
for sure, you're like, no, you putting the extras on it for no reason.
I mean, you know, just call me Mav, bro. It's all good. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
All right, man. Well, dude, thank you for coming on the show. You just got done doing a super dope set on the Turn Up Friday show. And let me just say, bro, that you're like one of those people that I kind of grew up admiring and
wow,
like
man.
looking up to, man, because I was so young when I got involved with the Heat, and you were like one of like the OGs there, you know what I'm saying? Like you, I walked in the picture and I quickly could tell, like, okay, these guys have been doing it for a while. Right, you know what I'm saying? So much love, brother. Respect for sure.
Man. I mean, I didn't know all that, man. It's kind of weird, like hearing you say that to me, because like I've known you for all those times, and it's just like I was like, oh, this is a homie. But now you're like, nah. I'm like, what? I saw you as a peer, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
It's like,
thank you. Appreciate that.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I never look at people like, especially now with all the years I've been doing things, like I've met pretty much everybody I looked up to, and they look at me as a peer. So I'm like, I come from that same point where I'm like, yo, man, I was fan, like looked up to you, man. I studied whatever you're doing, and I'm like, yo, and they're like, oh man, you like me now. I'm like, wait, what? Nah, man, it's like almost like a full circle thing, you know?
Yeah.
What I mean? Like you just saying that to me, I'm like, oh wow, man, because I still feel like, you know, regular with me, and I'm sure somebody that's turning into you is like, yo, man, this dude DJ Mav, he's killing it out here, and you're like, oh man, I'm just trying to make it. I'm just trying to do my thing, and you know, it's all that thing, you know. So like I said, much love, man.
You know, one thing that's always stood out to me is how humbled you are, and how like just mellow and chill, you know what I'm saying? Obviously you have a super dope resume, but you've always been like the same dude. Like from the day that I met you till now, you know, I'm sure you've done a bunch of other cool things in between, and you're just like super down to earth, super chill, you know what I'm saying? So like, what do you have to say, or what's your opinion for like DJs that kind of get like big headed when they start doing certain things in their career?
I mean, there's everybody falls down from the mountain. Everybody, right? Yeah. So, I mean, just me as my normal personality, like I never wanted to feel as I was like too big to talk to anybody or even like that. I still to this day I still have my own mountain that I'm trying to climb. You know what I mean? So every person that I've come across, they're still climbing that mountain no matter what level they're at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I'm always like, oh, that makes perfect sense. Like someone like The Rock, right? Still climbing his mountain. And that dude's in the top of Hollywood. But he's still like, I got work to do.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, even like knowing that now and looking at myself, I'm like, I never like looked at myself as like climbing a mountain. I'm just doing my own thing. And my whole humbleness comes from also me being very modest about everything. Cause I don't like, I was never a braggadocious person in my own personality. So when people are like, oh, you're dope. Oh no, I'm all right. You know what I mean? It's just something, but now I'm starting to learn that, you know, it's all right to be like, oh yeah, thank you. You know, accept it. You know what I mean? Like, that's a hard thing to you know, get over, you know what I mean? Because it feels like you got a big ego, like a chip on your shoulder type thing. And even though you don't want to come across as no, I don't want to cuss. Can I cuss? I don't know.
On this, you can. Yeah,
I don't want to come across like an asshole, you know what I mean? Like, so I always just me in general, ever since I was a kid, I was always just super like, oh, that was amazing. You know what I mean? Like,
it's all right.
And it might be because I have siblings. So, you know, so we're always in competition with each other. So it's like.
You the oldest?
No, I'm the middle youngest. I guess that's how it goes. Middle youngest. Because I got 3 brothers.
Okay.
So I got 2 older, 1 younger. So
okay.
I'm the middle youngest. So it's like we're always have been like kind of try to outdo each other to a certain degree. And somebody was always better than you, somebody whatever. So if you did something better, it was almost like you could, I'm the best, but you get humbled real quick.
Where did the DJing come from? Like, did you get it from an older brother?
For sure.
Yeah?
Yeah. So my older brother, he bought turntables, was this 98? Like, so I don't even remember. Like, I'm pretty sure it was 98. I don't know exactly. It might be earlier or later. But either way, it was for sure in the late 90s. And he was still in high school, and he was like his first job he ever had. So he's like into hip hop and all that kind of stuff. And he bought some cheap turntables from
those Geminis?
No, they weren't even Geminis. What were they called? BST PR96s.
I never even heard of that.
Exactly, my point, right? Like it wasn't anything fancy. Like he bought them from some website. I think it was a music factory. He bought it for like $250. Turntables, mixer. So you can only imagine what he got for $250. But either way, that's how I got into DJing. When he got it, like we're all young kids in a house, and I'm like, can I try it, man? He's like, you know, it's my older brother. He's like, all right, just don't break nothing. So he's standing there like hawking over. I didn't know what I was doing. So it's like we all started DJing at the same time. So out of my 4 brothers, all of us together, 3 of us were DJs. So my older brother DJ'd, and my younger brother DJ'd, and I DJ'd. So the only one that didn't DJ was my oldest brother, who was not in the house. He was in the military and been gone. So he comes back. He's like,
and everybody's a DJ.
Everybody's a DJ.
So did you guys ever, like, you know, growing up, did you guys think about doing parties together, or everybody kind of did their own thing, or DJ crew, or what?
Yeah. So like when I started, like I think we all had like different whatever, I guess, goals or whatever we wanted to do. So for me, when I started, I wanted to be like a serious battle DJ. I had no idea of like, oh, I'm going to be a mix show DJ doing clubs. I was like, nah, I want to be this super crazy dope scratch nerd battle DJ. That was my goal. I know my older brother, he wanted to be like DJ Premier, like producing beats and doing all that kind of stuff. And then my younger brother was just like looking at us like, young, like, all right, this is something cool to do. I don't know, but we all kind of like, it's almost like you learn from your older brother, okay, I can do that. Then you do more. Then the next one learns from that one and does more. So I'm like, if we had another brother that was younger, boy, that kid would be set up, right?
Yeah,
because it's like, because even like with my younger brother, like we told him like, don't do that, don't do this, don't go there. Like I remember first time he went to a club and he paid like $20 to go to that spot in what's that place? The Deviate. You remember that spot? Yeah. He went there and he came back and me and my older were like, what are you doing? Why are you paying to go to a club? He's like, I don't know, man. I'm like,
like just to attend a club?
Yeah. We're like, you don't need to do that, man. This is how you do it. And he's like, that was the first and last time that he paid to go to a club.
How do you do it? Because I've never been much in the club market. So how do you get in like that? What was the tip?
So it's like you meet the promoter, right? You befriend the promoter or whoever at the party, and then you're like, all right, and then there are all those guest list things or whatever, get there at this time or whatever, and then you befriend security. So, like, if you roll up there with some people, your man's running the door. Yo, what's up, man? Hey, what's up? Yeah. But he's good, man. He's good, right? And if the promoter's cool with you, unhook the rope. You in there.
Sick.
And then people looking like, who's this person?
Who's that guy?
Like, hey, it's just a regular person. But why? Because you're mad cool and you support the party. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Like, you're not just there trying to get the look. You know what I mean? So
I mean, once you're in there, you're going to spend money anyways, right?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
So and if you already know, if you bring in girls, you're already winning. You know what I mean?
That's what's up. That was cool, man. Yo, that's funny. So, at what point did you realize that, I know you wanted to be a battle DJ, but was there a point when you were like, this is what I want to do full time forever, or that never really clicked and it just naturally happened?
Yeah, I mean, working a regular job, will definitely have you prioritize what you really want to do. So, like, because I've worked a bunch of regular jobs that I didn't care for.
Yeah.
But every time I was at that job, it was to purchase DJ gear or, all right, I'm going to go here and work. And then after this, I'm trying to go DJ, whatever. So even when I kind of like figured out like, okay, I can make money off of this and like kind of be like, all right, I could play whatever commercial music and make money. I was like, all right, I'm going to do that. And then I remember it was like one of those things, oh, you're selling out, man. You're going to go play whatever, Nelly or whoever. I was like, look, they want to pay me X amount of dollars to have people turn up and have a good time, I'll do it. And I remember the first party I ever DJ'd, like I only had my own music. Everybody has their own music that they're into, right?
Right.
So I remember one of my homies that I went to high school with, like he hit me up. He's like, yo, I used to go to the arcade a lot, right? So I would see him like every weekend. And he was like, yo, my cousin's he got into DJing. You still DJ? I was like, yeah. But I was like, I only had music that I was into. He's like, oh, we're going to throw a party. Like, you want to come DJ? I was like, I only have what he's like, no, it doesn't matter. Just whatever, just come through and DJ. So I was like, all right. I go to do this party with them and I'm in there playing the music I'm into and nobody's moving, right? Like, girl.
What music was that? Like,
that was just like my I guess it would be underground backpack hip hop stuff, right? So like I'm in there playing like who was like Dilated Peoples and who else, like Slum Village and
you're like, yo, why is nobody vibing to this? This is fire.
Exactly. I'm playing like all that stuff, like just playing all these songs. And I'm like, man, y'all whack, man. Y'all ain't hip hop. You know what I mean? Like I come from that whole era of like, oh, you don't know the elements, blah blah blah. And
I seen a thing yesterday that said it was like a TV show and it was like a funny skit, and it was like, so what do you do when the crowd is not feeling your set? Are you good enough to adapt? And then the guy was like, I came to a realization that when that happens, they're the problem, not me. I was like, that's just hilarious.
I mean, there's a little truth to that.
Y'all don't know good music.
There's a little bit of truth, but there's also like you taking that step back and being like,
it's not about me.
Exactly.
It's about them.
And it took me a while to figure that out. Even that first party I did, I was like, man, y'all suck, right? But, I like girls, a couple girls. Where does the other DJ come? I'm like, yo, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I'm like, all right, whatever. Then I see him get on the parties jumping, and I'm like, I'm not mad, but I'm also like, man, this is nonsense. This ain't good music. This ain't real. What I was playing was good music. You know what I mean? And then next week, same party. I get on again. I'm like, all right, same thing happens. So like maybe 5 or 6 parties. I'm like, all right. He takes me down to like Amoeba and all that. I'm like, all right, if I'm going to be doing these parties for this crowd that wants to hear all the popular music, what's the popular music that I can, no pun intended, gravitate to, right? So like that I enjoy just as much as they enjoy. And I was like, all right, if I start doing that, I could play this kind of music for this people. And it was never about making money. It was just about like, all right, I'm DJing these parties. No one's moving to what I'm playing. All right. So let me figure out how to play this music for them. And then once I figured that out, that's when the whole idea of me like, oh, I could do this. You know what I mean? Because it was like, I was like 20 at the time when that happened. And
this was like in the early 2000s or what?
Yeah, early 2000s.
So what was the process of finding that music? Like, how did you go? I mean, I'm assuming there wasn't that many record pools at the time. How did you know, you being like somebody that's into underground hip hop, how did you go find the records you needed to find that were like on the top 40 or whatever?
I mean, it wasn't. I mean, I still heard all that stuff. I was still listening to the radio and hearing
so
all
you
the
did
beats.
listen.
So I was aware of it, but it wasn't like my go-to. You know what I mean? So, and this was back before there was Serato or anything like that. So I'm talking about real vinyl records. So I had to go spend my hard-earned money on whatever song that was cracking at that time that I may not have cared for. You know what I mean? So it's you prioritize what you're going to spend $10 on when you're spending. Like now you can just go download whatever.
Yeah.
You can rip it off YouTube.
Yep.
If you had to go, like, think of like people that whole libraries ripped songs, right? So think about if they had to spend, we'll make it cheap, $1 on each on each one of those songs, right?
That's like if you're a hip hop DJ and then somebody wants to book you for like, I don't know, a dance gig, right, with dance music. You would probably be in the negative because you would have to spend all that money to get that music, to do that gig, and then all you're probably getting is the money back, and there's no profit.
If that. Yeah.
Wow.
Right. And then also, if you think of it, right, like if you don't know about that kind of music, who are you gonna? The internet wasn't as dialed in as it was now. Like you would go to some site like you couldn't just click play on something and enjoy this. Be like, oh, this song, I don't like this one. Next one, I don't like this one. I don't like this one.
Yeah. You
did that for an hour, and then you like find songs you like, and then you go to the party thinking these songs are what people, and you play it. No response, right? There's like now you can go to anything, pull up a list of all the songs that you know work. Just play all record pools now tell you, oh, the 10 best songs to classic songs from 2010.
Yeah,
you can go get that.
Or that trend tab, you know, like the songs that are trending that month. Yeah,
covered. So like I didn't have any of that. So like I knew. Like, well, who was big at the time? Like Nelly was big, Jay-Z was big. So like I was aware of the songs, and I would just listen to like Power 106 and The Beat. Just listen to the mix show DJs because I like DJs. So I'd be like, all right, that song sucks. That one's cool. That one sucks. That one's cool. And I was just like, all right, let me go buy these songs. And then compilation records came out, and that's what I would buy to like. If I didn't care for the song, it was like you get 6 songs per record. So I would buy one of those if it had like all 6 of the songs that I didn't need to spend money on buying 2 of the same copies of because like anybody that's like watching this instant doubles, you had to buy 2 records to get instant doubles. So that's where that comes from. Yeah. So like I had to buy doubles of, let's just say, I don't know what's a goofy song. Let's say we'll use one of the biggest songs ever made, Old Town Road. Some people like, I hate that song, right? If I wanted to get that, I'd be like, I have no problem with it now, but I'm sure young me wasn't rocking with that, right? So, but if I wanted to get that and play that at the party, it was like, all right, if I find it on a compilation record with like 3 other songs that I need to get, I'd buy that. Or I buy doubles of Old Town Road so I can mix it in. I was like, I'm not spending doubles. Yeah. Money on this song, because that's like, let's just say a record at the time was like $7 to $10 for a single.
Makes sense why DJs don't want to get rid of their vinyl. It's like so much money that's just sitting there.
Like I'm looking at my investments all the time. I'm like, man, I spent so much money on all these records, and then some is just like, oh, just get rid of it. I'm like, you don't understand, like. There's literally thousands of dollars here I'm looking at, and it's like, but I also know, like, you know, technology's evolution of everything. Like I just did a whole mix with no needles.
Yep. How do you feel about the new way it's going, like with Beat Source Link?
Nah, I love it,
like
man.
the cloud service.
I use it. I use it all the time. Like,
do you ever see that becoming like the main thing, and then you eventually stop worrying about downloading music?
it's already happening.
Yeah, for you personally.
Yeah.
Wow, I feel like that kind of freaks me out, bro. Because it's like, what if I get a gig somewhere
so
and the Wi-Fi is bad?
So this is where offline locker, right?
Yeah.
So if you think about it, like, all right, how many songs do you think you're playing per gig?
Definitely not 1,000, which is what the offline locker does, right?
Right, yeah.
So per gig, I would probably say, I don't know, maybe, I guess it depends how long the gig is, but on average 4 hours.
4 hours, yeah. So all right,
maybe 200.
All right, 200 songs, right? And you telling me you can't take those 200 songs, put it in the offline locker,
Yeah.
right? And then if you take those ones that you're gonna have with you, regardless of service or anything, and then you can still download all the remixes and the crazy different versions to flip it up and have those there, same way, offline locker. And then let's just say there was a bunch of music that you didn't. Let's just say you did a gig where you had to play, like, I don't know, you strike me as someone that plays all styles of music, right?
Yeah.
So nothing really bothers you, right? So let's just say, like, I always hear people say, I can't stand country music, right? But let's just say Levi's got a check for you. That's nice. You got to play country music, and they're like, just get these country songs. I'm not downloading these, but you go to your streaming service, put said songs in that offline locker, you're good to go.
Yeah, I'm super new to that. I just got into it like in December, and already within the first gig, I got my money's worth, and I was like already happy. I'm just like a little worried about like stopping, downloading. How do I say, like, not giving attention to my personal library, right?
Sure.
I'm worried about that, but I'm a huge fan of the service. And what happened was I got the service, and then I had a gig at the Ram Stadium, right? And it was a Christmas gig for a company called Baby to Baby. There's like a ton of celebrities there, and they were like, "Can you play the first hour all Christmas music?"
All right.
And I was like, "Fuck." I don't. First of all, I'm like really weak when it comes to the holiday crates, right? Like I don't really collect like Christmas edits and then Halloween edits, right? Because I don't know,
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But I remembered I had that, and then I realized I can go on it. I can go on the website while I'm in Serato, and I can add all of these crates, and I added all of these like Christmas crates, right? And then all I have to do is log back in while I'm in Serato, and they pop up immediately. And I killed it. Bro. Like all Christmas, like the first hour, and they were like, "Yeah, this is dope." And I was like, "Yeah, thank you."
Right, exactly.
But it was just because of that. That was awesome. That was awesome. But I was just a little worried about not building my library.
Like I wasn't like, as soon as I was like, I don't know about this, man. Like Wi-Fi, like I said, Wi-Fi's. What if I'm out in like, the middle of nowhere? There is no service. Can't even hotspot it. Like, what are you gonna do? Well, that's when you do the work beforehand. I'm like, do I really want to do that? And it's like, it took me a second to understand it because I was still like, nah, I don't know. And I was like, and then I used it and I was like, this ain't that bad. And then you were in a situation where you're like, okay,
yeah,
I get it now. I can't be too like against this. Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. Like, I don't solely rely on streaming. I still download music, but I get like how this can, save me or get me going on whatever.
I get how it's going to become the future.
Yeah,
Like,
it's already happening, man.
yeah, like somebody that wants to get into DJing, they don't have all the music, just get an account. Boom,
Exactly.
you got all the music.
Exactly.
Oh, damn, my laptop broke. Can I borrow yours? Boom, log in. Are you able to like create your own crate and then share it with another DJ?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
I got to check that out.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I didn't even know that.
they have like and I think that's only Beat Source. Like, I mean, I'm not a spokesperson for them or anything, but I know that you can make public playlists. So like, let's just say you did a party and all that stuff saved, and you could just be like, oh, here's that party I did. So like, let's just say those people that was it the baby to baby, and they're like, we loved your Christmas playlist. Can we get that? Yeah, boom, everything's there already, and they can just go play it. You know what I mean?
Damn, that's dope.
So it's almost like they can recreate that moment or whatever, then it's the flow of whatever. And I was like, all right, this is a whole new, like everything's being, I want to say like the pandemic has kind of like forced people to look at tons of things that they never thought about. And then they're like, all right, let me try it. And then, like I said, the wave is coming.
There's actually a lot of DJs that are not aware about it yet.
Yeah.
You know, like I was telling somebody about it, and they're like, what is that? You know, and it almost feels like you kind of get, it's like, you know, that feeling when you want to show somebody a record you're really into. You're like, oh, bro, you got to check this out. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, you got to check this out.
Yeah, I mean, at least try it, you know what I mean? Because it's like, it's no different than, you know, like even people using a laptop. Like I come from when I started using a computer, I was like, trash, right? Because the first time I used a computer was on Final Scratch. And I tried it, I was like, it went zit. I was like, oh, this is never going to work. This is trash. Then when Serato came out, I was like, I've experienced that computer thing, trash, right? Didn't even touch it.
How long did you hold out until you eventually gave in?
So it was when I was part of this record pool, and I had to make these mixes to get songs from the record labels, and they stopped sending vinyl. They would only send digital files, and I was like, what is this, man? Like I didn't have.
I can't get jiggy to this shit.
Sort of, yeah, to a certain degree, right? So I was like, what am I gonna do? Like I don't have a laptop, you know what I mean? And I remember my brother that got me into DJ, he had one Serato because he used to work at the Guitar Center. So he won Serato and it sat on the shelf, just sitting there. No one was touching it because we all had bad taste in our mouth from Final Scratch. So then I was like, all right, let's try this. I plugged it up. I was like, still didn't get it. I was like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
I pick up a needle, put this on, it works. And then after like I started doing all those mixes, I was getting actual records, and they stopped sending out the records, and I had to make these mixes. I'm like, how am I going to do this without, you know, I was like, all right, I got to figure this out. I figured it out. And after I started using it, and then somebody told me about all the settings I need to get right, because that was a game changer. I was like, this needs to go this way, not that way. And after that, I was like, okay, I'm on board a little bit. You know what I mean? Because it's like, all I had was a desktop, so I can't be showing up to the gigs with a desktop and big monitor. And that's what I'm saying. All this technology stuff is coming. So you can be that person that's like, I'm keeping it real to this, but you're going to get left behind.
For sure. Absolutely. I think that was one of the cool things about DJ AM, that he was always very quick to hop on new things. And I see that from all his interviews, he was like super about Serato. Right. When it came out, you know. And at that point, a lot of DJs were against it. And he was somebody that comes from, you know, turntablism. So that was cool. And that was kind of like learning from somebody else, you know, is what I look at it. So now when new technology comes out, instead of like being like, I mean, I just proved to you that I'm still a little worried, but I'm adopting it. Like right, I'm with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's normal. Like, it's even like how like because I'm in the cars a little bit, so like there's no more stick shift cars. So like there's people that don't even know what that means, like driving stick shift. And then if I can see it, they're like, what am I gonna do? And I'm like, I mean, that's totally different. That you gotta, you know, driving a stick shift car is a science to a certain degree. Can you drive stick shift?
Yeah.
All right. So
I haven't done it in a while, so I don't know how good I am, but I used to.
But if you got it, it'll take you like a couple of minutes and you'll be back, right?
Yeah.
You remember the first time you drove stick shift?
Yeah.
Terrible time, right? It was right. So that's what I'm saying. Like it's kind of that same situation now.
Get all nervous when you're coming up to a hill.
Oh, exactly. I still get nervous now coming up to a hill, right? Even though I don't drive stick shift in years, but it's the same kind of thing where like people like, yo, all the cars are no longer stick shift. They're all like, you know, automatic with the panels or whatever. And I'm like, you can't stop what's happening, the wave, like even electric cars and all that kind of stuff. You know, it's coming. Like everything is literally evolving in front of us like Pokemon.
Yeah. Big facts, big facts. So let's talk about how you got involved in at the radio station on the Heat. How did that happen?
It was actually through my older brother. So I feel like when did the Heat start? You remember? Or you?
I don't know.
I feel like the Heat started, and I was like, all right, I'm a DJ out here. Well, why? No one's reached out to me. You know what I mean? And I was just like, one of those things where I was like, I knew a few people that were already on there, and I was like, who do I got to talk to, like, to figure out to get on station? And I didn't know at the time Craig was like, because he's the PD, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't know what his position was, but I knew he was involved, and I was like, Craig, you know me for years, early day years, right?
So you met him before the Heat?
Yeah, definitely. Like, cause he used to be the main DJ at Schooners. So I was DJing at Schooners for years. So that's how I know Craig. So it's like, you've seen me literally DJ with you. You know I know what I'm doing. So
yeah.
And I'm sure he was getting hit up by everybody and their mama to get on the station. So I never really like pressed him about it. But then my brother got involved with it, and then I think
Your older brother?
Yeah. So he got involved with doing mixes on the station. I think it was what was that guy's name? I forget his name. He used to do like a house show. I forget his name. But anyways, like he used to do a house show on the station, and he would let DJs come in there and just do guest mixes, and that's how my brother got involved with the Heat. And I remember Craig was having like some meeting or something at Schooners, and he was like, yeah, come to the meeting or something like that. So I came there, and then after that, this was all in 2008. So it was like, I got there. It wasn't like he had to like vet me or anything. He was like, oh, he's good, man. He's straight. Whatever. All right, we'll try to figure out how to get you in the mix. I was like, all right, cool, man.
And everything was pre-recorded mixes, or you were going in to do the show?
Nah, it was pre-recorded mixes. So I was doing like pre-recorded mixes like here and there, and then every now and then, because I knew Chester was still working at Kiss FM.
Yeah.
So I don't know where he lived, but he would drive up here, and then whenever he would be in town, we would do the show live. So it was like, I think it was Chester and Crazy K were like the Saturday hosts, and then I would go there and do my mixes live. So that was my first taste, like being at the station, like, yo, this is crazy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. What was your like first show like live? What was that feeling like?
It was all the deodorant had done out from the pits, man. I was nervous. Like I sound confident talking on the mic now, but I was like, hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, you know what I mean? Just like, because you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You got to get used to what your voice sounds like.
Yeah.
Talking, projecting your voice, all that kind of stuff. So it was I think the mixing was fine, but I don't remember. But I for sure, like, because I had to be a little bit of personality, because like, hey, what's up, Gravity? How you doing? Oh, I'm good.
Yeah, like that kind of kills the whole vibe that happens. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, and I was doing that all the time. Like, yo, Gravity, what you got next? I'm gonna play this DMX song. you know what I mean? Like,
the other guy's like, really? Come on, bro.
Exactly.
Give me something
like,
to work with.
I'm I didn't want to talk at all. You know what I mean? Like people hear like the mix and be like, what are you talking about? These dudes, he sounds super comfortable. It took a while to get there. Just like, you got to figure out your own voice and how you sound, and accept that, we all sound weird on the mic. No one likes their voice. Like, once you get over that fact,
man, I found some footage of me like when I was filling in for someone in the start, and it's just cringy to watch.
Right.
Like, I'm just like, ugh.
Exactly,
just like
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, because you were like,
you could just feel the like how not confident I was, and I'm not saying that like I'm the best now, but you just could tell that I was uncomfortable.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, sure, there may be people that just naturally got the knack for it. It's like they're them.
Yeah.
But it's like, you got to find your radio voice, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever, you know what I mean? And you don't want to sound like, hey guys, what's going on? You know what I mean? You don't want to be that person.
Yep,
So it's like, how do I project who I am to people that are not there? Because right now it's just me and you here, right? But how many people are going to be watching this later, right? We don't want to sound like boring, right? I'm not in my head like, I got to sound cool, I got to do this.
Yeah.
But if you want to just come across as natural and as smooth and as clean as possible. So
Yeah,
early
yeah,
days
yeah.
of that, you have none of these thoughts in your brain. Like, so anybody that's thinking about like doing this is like, everyone's gonna say, be yourself. You got to figure out what that even means.
I don't even know what myself is.
Exactly, especially in a lane of like entertaining people. Like, yeah, you're yourself, but you're not. I feel like you do give, let's just say, I don't know, you never give 100% of who you actually really are. Like everybody has a little bit of a mask on to a certain degree, or you figure out how to. And that plane is a
We're like right in the fucking airport right now or something.
for sure. But you gotta figure out how to like be you without
like enhance.
Like
enhance yourself
without coming across funky and phony. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that's a hard thing to do, man. It may take you a week, may take you 2 years.
You know what else is hard is like doing it by yourself. Like there's nobody in the room. So when I first started doing the Turn Up Friday show, I was going in there Friday nights by myself. And it was hard at first because it's like nobody's here. I'm trying to sound hyped up. I'm trying to get like these people hyped up, get ready for the club. But I'm not even hyped myself because I'm in this room by myself, you know? So that was kind of tough too, like getting used to that.
Yeah, because like I said, it's like, talking on a mic is easy, but it's not. You know what I mean? Like, at least for me.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because it's like you got to figure out like.
Also, go ahead. See, we're doing it right now. That's gonna prove to you what I was about to say. But go ahead.
Yeah, but it's even like like saying what you need to say in those talk beds. You know what I mean? Like you got 30 seconds. Like just like if you ask me a question and like I can't just give you no one note answer. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, for sure. What I was gonna say is like even doing a show with another person, it takes a little getting used to. It's kind of like playing basketball, right? You kind of start to learn where somebody goes or whatever, right? And then what happens is sometimes you guys bump into each other, you know? And so like earlier today that happened, and that's happened because I've done the show by myself for so long that I forgot what it was like to have like a co-host. For sure.
You know? So yeah, that's takes some getting used to as well. You were there from 2008 to 2012. What is some of the memories you remember from the Heat at that time that you really enjoy?
Yeah, just learning how to like DJ on the radio is totally different than DJing at a club or whatever. Like, you know, hitting your drops, you know what I mean? Like everybody was like, I want the drops. That was my thing. I was like, I gotta get the drops. I got the drops. And then it was like there's a whole science behind triggering your drops on the right time and not having to like, you know, let the song play and all that stuff. And then you know, just meeting all the different people, doing all the events, like, you know, the grad night, you know, that would have never happened if I wasn't on the Heat, you know.
Bro, I'm so pissed. I only got to do that 1 year.
Oh man. Well,
and then after that they stopped doing it.
That's a bummer, man.
It was a fun event though.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great time. Like, cause I remember even when I went to my grad night, like you went to Disneyland for your grad night?
No, I went to Six Flags.
Yeah, so I remember we would go to Disneyland. I was there and I was like, oh, they got DJs here. I didn't care about no rides or nothing else. So I was like, oh man. And I'm listening to DJs. I was like, oh, he's trash. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I can do that. Oh, how do you get here? Like, I didn't know what the process was. But I was like, I'm a DJ one of these things one of these days. And it happened, you know what I mean? Where it was at Six Flags with the Heat. That was like a great time. Even doing stuff at the fair. Even like some of the local events,
like the remotes.
Yeah. Like and even doing I think it was because I knew Craig would always like throw on like his old school parties, and it's also being there, being a DJ, getting a taste of that, like, you know, I'm somebody type of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was like, okay, this is like, okay, I'm getting a taste of this. So like I didn't know, you know what I mean? So like I would also the Heat, like getting that taste and understanding of like, you know, I guess you could say being not necessarily the star of the show, but being part of like a concert series or something like that. And like understand like, okay, somebody's hosting, you got 10 minutes to get the crowd motivated, figuring out how to get that crowd motivated, and, you know, like whatever they want to do, like you can't just be up there, I'm gonna play with our field, throw on this real stuff, you know what I mean? Like and accepting like being open to music that I may not have been a fan of. You know what I mean? Like that changed my whole narrative on being a DJ. Like I don't care about anything now. I'm not like, that song sucks.
Do you feel like being a radio DJ helped you on your just DJ journey in general, like being a better DJ at events?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you got to be clean, super clean mixing. You can't be sloppy. Like you can at events, you can kind of get away with it, but on the radio, like somebody could be at the office working, or somebody's like just hanging out, and they're listening. They're listening, so you know. And then you got other DJs that are listening. Like, I heard that. I heard that. You know what I mean? And that's the last thing you want to have anybody be like, yo, plays cool music, but mixing's trash. You know what I mean? It's like that just forces you to be on top of your P's and Q's and knowing your music and understanding how the flow of it, and like being aware of like matching energies and kind of stuff like that. So it's like at a club or a party, you just going ham.
Yeah.
But you know, you can't go ham for an hour. You gotta play some other songs. You gotta cater to people that everybody's listening. Girls, boys, grown men, young people, everybody's listening. So you gotta figure out, all right, especially if you don't have to follow a playlist or anything. So it's like, all right, like I asked you, I was like, what's the vibe of your show? You're like, open format, do whatever you feel like.
And you know what's funny, dude? Like, I was this close from telling you, Pitbull globalization. You know, like, and then like you got here, and then we had that whole conversation. But like that's just always like a thing, you know, just open format. When somebody comes in here, I'm just like, just do whatever you want to do.
Right.
Especially also because Craig, like, you know, my PD is like super cool.
Yeah.
You know, so I get the freedom to do that.
For sure.
So that's pretty cool. So
yeah, because like, even on like just the radio station I DJ in Hawaii, like you can't really do whatever you want to do. Like when you get to certain levels of radio, excuse me, you have all these playlists of A, B, C, and D songs that you gotta play, and that's probably why you hear the same songs over and over. Yeah. So I just know every time I was on the hit, it was like, yeah, just play cool stuff, keep it fun, keep it vibey. Don't like, you know, still incorporate this or that, but I got faith in you, and so I gotta say, shouts out to Craig for letting the DJs be the DJs, because that's how every radio station DJ wants to be, is to be free to like incorporate new songs and play throwbacks and not have to be like, all right, we just played this song, all right, we gotta play it again. It's like gets very repetitive. So like that freedom of that you have to like kind of curate your own playlist and let other people come here and curate their own playlist is giving you that extra flavor, man. For sure.
I was having a conversation with another radio DJ, and he was telling me all this, right? And I was, for the first time, I was hearing it, and I was just like, what? You mean you guys don't get to, you guys don't get that freedom? It's like, nah.
Not at all, man.
It's like, wow. All right, for sure.
I could show you playlists now of like A, B, and C songs, and then you could be like, all right, like you might have a song that you think is going to take off, and you're like, I'm gonna put it in the mix, and then you get feedback like, yeah, this is not testing well, so
don't throw that back.
Don't put that in the mix again. Or like, you know, you get a little freedom where you can squeeze in a song, as long as I call it, like even working at scratch, I say, you guys got to make the hit sandwich, and I got that from Revolution. Shout out to Revolution. That's like you play a banger, a song they may not know or they might know and like, and then another banger. Hit sandwich, you know what I mean?
I like that.
To back up whatever you got going. So it's like, yeah, you could play whatever said hot song and then like not sure about it. But as soon as that, okay, it's not going well, hit them with the song they know and love, and like, what was that song in the middle there? It's like you got two nice pieces of bread, and I don't know about that meat, but the bread was nice.
I always wonder whose job it is to listen to all those mixes. You know?
I mean,
because that's so much to listen to. If you're running like a station and you have so many shows and so many pre-recorded mixes that come in, it's just a crazy task to be on top of everything as far as like listening from start to finish to all the mixes.
Yeah, and that could also be why there's that playlist of music, because like you don't gotta approve anything.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, if you snuck in 4 songs in an hour, you're not really tripping, or maybe you are, because whoever your higher up is like, who played, I don't know, Baja Man, Who Let the Dogs Out or something like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, that's not our format, whatever. Like, so if you're on a hip hop station, why would you be playing Taylor Swift?
Yeah.
Right? That makes perfect sense. So like, almost like if someone came to your show, you were like, yeah, do whatever you want. And they're playing like a bunch of Taylor Swift and like
country, like super country.
And you're going to be like,
all right, you about to throw that on a redrum edit or what? Like,
exactly.
what's going to happen?
You're going to be like, all right, I said you could do it, but like, this ain't my show, you know, like this ain't the vibe on my show. Like I got literally cups with that says red cups, you know what I mean? Like I'm sure at them country parties they drinking the same red Solo cups, but this ain't the turn up I'm talking about, you know what I mean? But
yeah, I feel it.
Who knows? Maybe in 5 years you might be a totally different thing. We might be talking about country. They're finally getting that chance because you know how everything goes in like genres, like Latin music's killing it right now. You know what I mean? Who knows what that next wave is? Country music might be coming. Might be coming, man. You might have to swallow that pill.
You know, whatever. As long as the checks keep clearing. That sounds like a total sellout. But hey,
look at this guy.
Hey.
Nah, look.
You gotta pay the bills.
That's what I was gonna say. You got bills.
You got bills to pay.
You gotta eat, man.
Yeah, I feel it. Yep. So after you left the Heat, man, in 2012, what was the next stage in your career?
Like, so I wasn't doing any radio. I was just doing like gigs here and there, and I was still working a regular job at the time. And I was also thinking like, all right, like what do I want to do? Like I had moved out of the AV, so I wasn't living in Lancaster anymore. I was living down in the Valley, so I was closer to gigs that I wanted to do. And I was like, all right. It wasn't like I had to start over again because I already knew people, but it was like, all right, I'm here now. So like if I had opportunities thrown my way, it was easier for me to accept them and take them. So I was doing a lot of that and just taking gigs and trying to figure it out, like it wasn't like I said, I didn't have to fully start all over again, but I had to figure out like what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go. And I'm still doing some of that, but once you kind of figure out like, okay, I'm here now, I got to make the most of it. Got to take these opportunities. At least I don't got to drive an hour away now. I may be gaining that extra 2 hours of sleep instead of driving home and only getting an hour. It's like, all right, I'm here. Let's do this, dive in. And that was like 2012 when I moved out from here. And the whole goal was like, all right, let me get myself back in the scene. Like I didn't really do too many like big club stuff. It was more so like figuring out there's a whole nother world outside of like the typical clubs as well. You know what I mean? I didn't know that.
Like corporate?
Not even corporate, like even like the smaller, like, because everybody thinks like, oh, you DJ in LA and it's only LA and Hollywood, so like downtown and Hollywood. I'm like, nah, there's a whole world outside of that, like even like the smaller bar scenes and things like that. Because even now, like big clubs are like, I haven't done like a big like bottle pop club in years, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not gonna say I'm against it, but it's kind of weird as a DJ DJing a spot like that because it's not really about the music.
I hear that a lot on the 20 podcast, like doing big clubs like that. It's just like a lot of shit that you got to deal with as a DJ.
Yeah, because it's more so about like the table service. Like table service like runs the venue. Mm-hmm. So let's just say Kevin Hart shows up. If Kevin Hart's like, I want to hear this, and he just dropped 40 G's, I'm playing whatever he wants to play, right?
Wow.
I mean, it's not, but in the same sense, it's like Kevin Hart's not going to do that, but I'm just using him as an example.
Sure.
Like it turns into this like whole celebrity thing and like IG model thing and this kind of stuff. Like,
I feel like you also have to be on top of knowing who's who, like celebrity wise, which is something that I'm horrible at. Yeah. Like I know like the top, but IG models. Oh, you don't know who that is? That's from no, right. I don't know who that is.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, so it's like, oh, they got, I don't know, whoever hosting tonight. Like, who is that? Right.
But I'm so bad at it. When I was doing the Christmas baby to baby thing, all the celebrities were in front of me, so I was looking at their backs. But it wasn't until I saw the Instagram post that I realized how many celebs were there.
Right.
And I didn't recognize any of them.
Right. And that's probably a good thing, man. If you think about it.
oh yeah,
I've seen you before.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think that's a good thing because like you're not like starstruck. You're just like, hey, like this person.
They could have came up to me and requested a song. I was like, yeah, I'll let you know. I'll see if I have it.
Exactly my point. You know what I mean? So like they're used to being catered to and pampered and getting pretty much anything they want, and then you're like, I'll see. And they're like, what? He's not even like acknowledging who I am, right? And
Yeah.
and that's what I'm saying. That could also be a good thing, you know what I mean? Like, because at the end of the day, they're regular people just like me and you. You know what I mean? They gotta put on their pants one leg at a time, just like me. You know what I mean?
How did you get involved with Scratch Academy?
Yeah. So I got involved with Scratch like I want to say 2006 maybe. And that was on the event side, so that had nothing to do with like teaching or anything. So Scratch has like a whole event side where they do events, and they have a whole wedding side as well. So they have like they're like multi on what they do. And I was brought on to like just DJ in-store events and different things, so they can send out DJs to go see someone DJing at H&M. I was like one of those DJs, so that's how I got involved with Scratch. And when I got into the teaching side of it, was actually through my younger brother. So if you're wondering, he's a tour DJ for Talib Kweli. So he was trying to figure out something to do.
He says that so casual.
I mean, it's normal to me, but he was trying to figure out something to do when he wasn't touring to like still stay active, or I don't know what the full story is, but I'm pretty sure he was like, I just need something to do when I'm not touring. Right. I'm just literally like focusing on me and doing some other stuff, and that might have been part of he wanted to give back as well, So he hit up the director at the time, who was a DJ Hoppa, and he was like, "Yo, man, I wanna go teach a Scratch." So I hadn't been around Scratch as far as on the teaching side in a minute, and I hadn't seen anybody from Scratch in a while after I stopped doing the events. And when I went there, I was like, "All right, I'm gonna go with you." So I went there and we're hanging out, and like all these other instructors come in, and I knew them from the past from doing Scratch events and stuff like that. So I used to do a party with Mr. Chalk and DJ Hoppa. What was it called? It was called The Bridge at Little Temple. So that was like my first getting the idea of like what Scratch was, and like meeting some of the students and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I got in with Scratch like that. I was like, okay, cool. And then after I stopped doing events, like I stopped like doing it, and the party stopped happening. So I like cut myself off from like Scratch to a certain degree. So like going back was like a little weird. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna be received. It was like, oh, what are you doing here? And it was like, it was all love when like Hoppa came in there and he was talking to my brother. He's like, oh yeah, so this is gonna happen, blah blah blah. And we're just catching up. He's like, so you down with this too, Grav? And I was like, all right, I'm down. So it was like one of those like literally that long pause. Like I had to think about it because like I'm still working a regular job, but I was like, you know what? I part of the reason me moving down here was like to get back into the scene of things, and like, Scratch has always been something that I've done. So I was like, all right, let me see if I can do this teaching thing. And so when I got there, I was like, all right, like I had to learn how to teach people. Like anybody thinks, oh, I could teach you how to DJ, and I'm like, but there's a whole nother monster to it, like explaining like the music theory and understanding all that kind of stuff. So
what was that like? Did you go through a training course with Scratch, or as far as them saying this is how we like to break down the curriculum, and then you did it, or you kind of just shadowed for a couple weeks? So like
I didn't even get a chance to shadow, right? So I won't forget the first day I was there. Like I was supposed to be shadowing class, and I'm watching the class, like seeing how it's running, and I'm like I know what's going on, but I don't know what's going on, because he's over there like, we're going to map out a song. This is blah, blah. This is the phrase and blah, blah, blah. And he's putting lines. I was like, yo, what is he doing? Like, I'm like, yeah, I know how to count bars, but I wasn't like putting lines and all this. And I was like, how is that 8 bars? You only got 2 lines on the board, man. There's supposed to be 8 of those or whatever. Something like that. I didn't know what he was doing. It's like, oh, we're just marking each phrase. And I was like, what? Like I didn't know any of that, right? So like what that means, right? So phrases every 4 bars, if you're wondering, right? So I was so confused because I have no like musical theory breakdown when it comes to DJing. It was just all of like and go, you know what I mean? So like And then like also learning how to count bars, and I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. Like I knew that, but I was like, I never looked at it like a super like broke down way explained to someone that has no clue.
Yeah.
So when they were doing all that, and he was like, all right. So he broke it all the time. He's like, all right. So actually, we're gonna have a Gravity and Spinelec, and the next person, they're gonna help you guys out. And I'm like, yo, no. Like literally threw me in the fire. Like, so like he's like group breaks up. It's like 5 little groups, and like I got people looking like, what is he talking about? I don't know. And I can't be like, yeah, I don't know either. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, what do you mean? You're supposed to be like somebody that works here. And I'm like, I was like,
it's my first day.
Yeah, I can't say nothing like this. I'm like, oh, well, I guess Grab's no go. You know what I mean? So I was like, all right. I think I remember saying like, all right. So I knew the song was an 8-bar intro, blah, blah, blah. I knew how to count that. I was like, all right. So instead of just putting the 2 lines just on your piece of paper, count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. So each time you count a bar, mark a line. If you know the start, then you put whatever it is right next to it. I thought about that in 5 seconds. So literally people were like, yeah, that makes sense. I was like, whoo. Because I was like, they'd be like, why does he put 2 lines? I can't be like, I don't know. You know what I mean? They're like, you're some DJ, been DJing for X amount of years. You don't even know what that means. You're supposed to teach me. I don't know if I could trust this guy, you know what I mean? Or even trust this school. They got this guy here. He doesn't even know what he's doing, right?
Yeah.
So I remember doing that, and I was like, all right. And then for the longest, I didn't know what that meant, because like I said, I had no like music theory training, and it wasn't like they're like, here's the book, or learn this. It was like being there and talking to students and then talking to instructors and seeing like, oh, okay, because it's like, you had already been doing all these things. It's just nobody had told you anything, because I'm self-taught, you know?
Right. Yeah, that kind of reminds me of when I went to take a breakdance class.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I grew up like b-boying,
Right.
and it was all self-taught, like rewinding VHS tapes and, you know, trying to figure it out. And then I went to like a class, and they were breaking down like a 6-step, a 12-step, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. I never thought about it like this. You know? So yeah, that's crazy. So you've been teaching there. Do you enjoy teaching?
Yeah.
Like some people really enjoy teaching because they get like it's gratifying to see other people learn, and then other people, you know, don't have the patience for it. Like, how do you speak on that? Like, where are you on that?
Yeah, I mean, like, when I first did it, like for years, people were like, man, you super patient. I was like, sure, right?
Well, you definitely strike me as an extremely patient person.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But like, it wasn't in my mind like I should be a teacher. You know what I mean? Like, it never crossed my mind, I'm gonna be a teacher one day. Nah, I never thought about that. You know what I mean? So like, and it's also like, it's not like I'm teaching something I don't care for. I'm teaching something I'm very passionate about. So
yeah.
So like, I definitely get to enjoy talking about DJing. Like, my whole job is DJing, so now I'm basically sharing that with people that want to learn the craft and understand it. And like, I'll tell, like, each time I'm in a class and I'm like, what's going on, guys? Tell them a little story, and then they're like how I started and everything, and they're like, okay, that's cool. So I'm like, look, everything you guys are gonna experience, I have experienced. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm self-taught DJ, so like, I understand your pain and struggles. So I know the headaches that you guys have all gone through. You're just learning it at a way faster pace. And they're like, oh, that makes sense. So like, all this music theory stuff, I know your confusions. I know all that stuff. So being able to like see people understand it and see the light bulbs literally go off is like, it's a great thing. Like, you seeing somebody, it's like almost like not to sound like too funny or cliche, but like if I'm a parent and I'm teaching a kid how to ride a bike, you know,
then they get it,
and then they pedal off on their own, you're like, way to go, buddy.
Yeah, I feel it.
Right.
So what is the program like from the moment a student signs up? How long are they there for? Things like that.
Yeah, so like now it's a little different. So let's just say you were fresh off the street, like, I don't know anything about DJ, I want to learn. So there's only like level 1 and 2 is offered to you, and it's like a combined class. So you'd come in there and you learn basically what it takes to mix song A to song B, and then after you figure that out, you have to make a 10-minute mix of whatever music you like, but you got to figure out how to put all that stuff together, and that's only in 6 weeks.
Wow.
Right. So people are going there for like literally a month and a half. You could leave Scratch Academy. We're like, all right, I know how to like at least put together a mix and what it takes to like go see said DJ. Oh, they do all this? Yeah. And then they're like even if you don't get a full understanding of it, you will know what it takes to bring two songs together. You know what I mean? And people are like literally like they're like, I had no idea. And now I get why DJs be like, give me a second, leave me alone. Like I didn't know like you guys are doing all these things all at once and trying to like read a room and do this. Like everybody's like, play my song. And you're like, there's so much more to it. You know what I mean? So like people will come in there and be like, oh, okay, this is it. All right. And then like, you know, some people are like, y'all want to keep going. So at this point, if you want to keep going, you got to basically like kind of commit to the whole program. Or you can just be like, all right, I don't know what I want to do, but I can just do private lessons or something like that. And there's like many ways that you can do it. So that, and not all the classes are a la carte. So if you wanted to like, yo, I just want to learn triple click, reverse flip flap scratches or whatever, something like that, right? Be like, all right, well, if you're asking me, you want to learn like, you know, but I just said as far as the scratch was me joking around, but like there's really like triple super complex like scratches out there, like double click flares and auto bonds and boomerangs and all those things. If someone says that to me, I'm like, okay, you must know a little bit, right? Because if you don't just come up to me like, hey, what's up, man? You know how to autobahn? Right? You know what I mean?
You got to know something.
Yeah, I'm like, how do you even know about that? You know what I mean? It's like almost like you know about B-boy. Someone's come to you, oh, man, do you know about like what's something that's like
my scratching ain't that good.
No, I'm just talking about like from b-boy move standpoint.
Oh, from b-boying?
Yeah. So you know all the moves, right? Like, so someone's like, yo, I'm trying to get my air flares right. You're like, what you?
So what you got right already?
Exactly, because the air flare is a super advanced move. You know what I mean? Like, you trying to air flare? Can you flare? Right? Like, you're gonna ask, can you do this? Yeah. They're like, okay. Like, I don't know anything. I just saw I saw BC1 and I'm like, oh, I want to do that. You saying like you just watched the NBA All-Star game and you want to go play in the NBA. You watched the best B-boys in the world. Yeah. It's the same thing with DJing. You watch the best DJs in the world and you want to go do that. Yeah, you could learn, but it's going to take you a lot of time and dedication to get to that point. You know what I mean? So like, I've seen, you know, hundreds of DJs. Literally, I had a guy ask me, he's like, yo, how many DJs do you think you've taught? I was like, dude, I've never like
counted.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Because like every year.
You have fathered so many DJs.
Not even that. I mean, maybe, you know what I mean? When I think
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but I'm like, I never look at it like that. You know, I'm just there to make sure you understand it and like you treat DJing with the respect it deserves. Whatever style of music you're into, I'm not like, oh, you like whatever.
Didn't I say it? One of the most humble people I know. Didn't I say it?
You did, but I mean, but that's real though, because like there's students that come in there that love all styles of music, so I can't be like, don't DJ, that's trash. You know? I'm like, no, I can't be like that. Like,
I feel it. Yeah.
So if like somebody comes in there and they're like, I love happy hardcore. I'm like, all right, cool. Not my cup of tea, but. You know, if you're doing this whole program, there's going to come a point where I say it's like the Matrix. You got the red pill, you got the blue pill, right? You want to keep it real or do you want to, you know, sell out, right? And I'm like, this is what you got to do as a DJ. If you're trying to make it in this industry, put both of those pills in your hand and swallow them, right?
And what kind of reactions do you get when you tell, you know, these guys that are new to it that it's not all glamorous? A lot of people think, you know, the DJ at the club, whatever, like it's all like this dope lifestyle, right?
Right.
And really, there's like so much grinding that goes into it to be able to get to a certain point in your career.
For sure.
Do you ever break that down to them, or does anybody ever ask you about that?
Yeah, because that's part of the like curriculum. So there's 8 levels. Excuse me, and I said like level 7. It's like a business kind of social media class where it's like, all right, So you guys, like, we teach them like everything, like plugging in setups and playing different kind of sets, and like what's an opening set, what's a prime time set, what's a lounge set.
Damn, I almost feel like I should go take a class, bro. I have never formally learned any of this stuff.
Yeah, but you're already out here working, so like you're talking to an instructor. I'll be like, you don't need to take a class. If you wanted, like, you'd probably benefit more of like learning some advanced things. So like, so talking to someone that's even doing it longer than me on a bigger level than me, learning from them and what they got to say. So like, let's just say you're like, all right, yeah, I do this. I got this going on, but I feel like I need to brush up on this. Who's the best person to talk to about that? And I'm like, oh, okay, I could point you in the right direction. If I'm like if you're like, I need to work on my mixing, and I'm like, all right, do a mix for me. And I'm like, you don't need to be here. You know what I mean? Like you already know how to mix. And I'd be like, all right, what's your experience? So like, if you were just tell me real quick, like, what's your experience? Like, imagine if you were a student, like, what's your experience?
My experience?
Yeah.
Radio DJing, festivals, private events.
All right. So imagine
corporate events.
All right. So imagine you just said that, and I'm in this class where I'm like, yeah, I work for Spotify. I just do coding all day. Right? And this guy just said he DJs festivals and events. I want to be like this guy. What are you doing here? You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense for you to be in that class, right?
Yeah.
So like most DJs that are there to learn, they have regular jobs. So like some of them may have like a little experience. Oh, I tried this like 5 years ago, and then, you know, I just kind of mess around with it. They don't really know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So like because you've had to figure out all this hard work on your own. Yeah. Right. So they're basically skipping all the going through the mud, basically. Yeah. Like, I'm saying, like, all right, here, put on these boots, put on this raincoat, put on these gloves. All right, you got to climb this mountain, but here's a rope. Here's
for real.
Here's all the things. This is how you navigate it, right? So like you're kind of getting like the workaround of like how to deal with all these things. Like, even like, okay, you want to go DJ a wedding, you have no equipment. How do you even go about doing that? I can buy it. You can buy it. You could also rent it. You can figure out how much does it cost to rent equipment. You already know because you've done these things, right? Yeah. So like, that's what I'm saying. Like, so if like, all right, if you need this, I'll make it simple. You need two 12-inch tops and one sub, right? You already know what that costs to rent. What's the market on that, right? Mm-hmm. Even to buy a setup, like how much is the average price of that? You already know these things. Yeah. So like somebody's like, I'd never even thought about that, because that's why like some people like, oh, I'll just pay you $100, and then they don't understand why you charging X amount of dollars. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, so I'll have like students, all right, you guys need to go rent DJ gear to do an event, right? You need basically 2 tops and 2 subs, your DJ equipment, and a basic light. Mm-hmm. How much is that all going to cost to rent? I was like, and I'm like, here's the website. Go or call this company, figure out how much it costs. And then they come back, yeah, it's like almost like $1,100. $1,100. Mine was like $15. Yeah. Right. And all right, let's say you rent all that, and someone's like, I got $500 for you. Yep. You're gonna be like, I can't do that. They're like, Dad, I never even knew all that. Or you're gonna be like, so even if you tried to modify, all right, what if I only got 2 10s at 1 sub, and I don't get a light. I just go buy some lights from Party City, and you do this, and you're like, well, still like $700 something, and I still only have
still in the negative.
Still have $500 for you. You're like, they're like, damn, I never even. Wow, I get it now. You know what I mean? Like, literally, like people are like, I get why DJs charge so much money. And then it's like, if you're there by yourself, you already know you got to set up all that stuff. You got to get there X amount of time early. You still got to look GQ if you're doing a wedding. You can't show up in there with a shirt all sweated out and then do whatever. Like, wow, I didn't even think. Wow, I had no clue. I'm like, yeah.
There's so much into this business that is not DJ related.
Absolutely.
You know, like music, you know, mixing from one deck to another. It's like so much if you're trying to make this a full-time job, trying to like put that on your occupation, you know, when you go do your taxes and stuff, like there's the way you move, the way you interact with people. One of the biggest things that I've learned over the years is to just always treat people right, because you never know who's going to become who. You know what I mean? Like that guy that used to work at a bar as a barback might end up becoming a manager someday. You know what I mean? And like all of these things. Like a big example of this is I do some work for a casino in Palm Springs, and I've been on that show for a long time. We do New Year's, like a New Year's show, and then 4th of July show.
Okay.
And for years, I've been working with that production company, doing it for sound, not DJing stuff, but still. And then the main like head of the entertainment department left to another casino, right? And I now DJ for that new casino.
Okay.
But I got the call for that casino not even knowing that he was there, okay?
Okay.
And then I come to find out he's the new boss there now. And like all of the years that I was there and I was always cool with the dude, you know, I was just nice, you know, like now I'm in a position where he's like, yo, you know, or like the company that I'm working with is like, yo, remember so-and-so? They're there now. And by the way, they let me know that they know that you're there. You know what I mean? So like, that's just a business. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That, and then also one thing that I've learned is not making myself so available. Because I feel like that could really burn your name sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
People feel like, never lets me down. I need you. Come here. And you're like, you kind of got to learn how to say no.
Yeah.
It's like you always hear people, you got to learn how to say no. Like, nah, man, I'm taking everything. Everybody's done it. I'm taking everything.
Yeah.
And then
I agree. I was there too.
Like I said, but you learn, like you just said right now, like, I got to be able to say no and take that step back and have them bring in somebody else. And then that could be like, you know, a chess move right there, you know, where you're like, all right, I'm trying to make X amount of dollars. And you told me, nah, I'm not going to pay you. All right, fall back. I'm still going to do stuff with you, but I'm going to fall back a little bit and have you bring somebody else in. And then you realize if the wrong person comes in, man, we should have got Mav. All right, he deserves that extra $200. We can figure that out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that could be a thing where it's like, I've learned how to do that even from like, you know, people like, hey, you want to come DJ? So I'm like, nah, I'm good. They're like, why wouldn't you do that? I'm like, you don't understand. Like I'll tell you a story. Like my brother got asked to DJ for YG one time, right? And he was like, I know YG's DJ. Why isn't he there? Well, why are you asking me? So he's like, I don't know. He's like, let me get back to you. He calls up YG's DJ. He's like, hey, what's going on? Like, why are people calling me to come DJ again? I know you his DJ, right? He's like, oh man, I got double booked for it. So he's like, hey, if you want to do it, it's all good. My brother's like, nah, I'm straight. So he gets off the phone. He looks at me. This is when we're living together. He's like, hey, you want to DJ this YG show? And I was like, where is it at? Like, you know, I'm inquiring now. He's like, oh, it's in Santa Barbara. I was like, oh, right. I'm like, but then in my head, I'm like, yo, it's for YG. That's a good look, right? Or I'm like, then I'm like, I know YG's music, but I don't know YG's music. You know what I mean? And then I know I'm like, there's more to it. I'm not just gonna be up there hitting play and standing there. I gotta know when to pull out the mic. I gotta sell myself, and I'm like, yeah, I know YG songs, but I don't know how elaborate of a show is gonna. I've never seen him before live. I don't know his DJ. I met him like once or twice, but I don't know him. So it's not like he's talking to me. Oh yeah, when we do this song, we do this, we do that. I don't know. And then I'm gonna be there with his entourage and all them, and then they're gonna be, you know, he is a gangbanger. They're gonna be hitting me up. Hey, where you from? I'm like. And it might not even be like that. This is what I'm saying. I'm like,
all this is going through your head at that moment.
All in this like 2 to 3 minute window of like, I don't even know if I got to drive all the way out to Santa Barbara, figure out what this show is or what it is. If it's a 30-minute set, if it's an hour and 30 minutes, and I'm like, I mean, I have songs. It's like, hey, you got these songs? Nah. What you mean? Like, you supposed to be the DJ?
That's the song we're closing with, homie.
Right. Like, man, I got this, and this. All right, but you ain't got these ones. Like, this is all part of the show. Like, how are you here right now? You know what I mean? I'm like, you know what? I don't need the headache of that. Get somebody that's around that world. Yeah. I'm not the dude. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I've told people this story. They're like, that makes sense. I never thought. I just thought about, I'm DJing for. No, you're not DJing for why. You just in the background. Why? No one's there to see you. They're there to see YG. You know what I mean? You just there to make sure he sounds phenomenal.
Yeah.
Right. So I was just like, that was one of those things. I was like, all right, I gotta say no.
Have you ever wanted to get into the tour DJ market?
Yes and no.
Because I know for sure, with a snap of a finger, you know all the right people. If you wanted to hop on a tour,
well, I mean,
you'd be out of here.
I mean, but it's not as simple as that. You know what I mean? Because it's like, as you know, like, it's all about knowing the right people, right? So if someone's like...
But I think it's safe to say if anybody knows the right people sitting in this table right now between you and I, it's definitely you.
All right, I'll take that, man. Thank you, man. But, like, if someone was like, all right, we need you to go be a DJ for, I don't know, like, Arizona Ice-T's doing some tour or something like that. And I'm like, all right, yeah, I'd jump on it. But then I'm like, okay, because it's like you're thinking you're going to go in there doing you when you're not. You know, you're like, this is one of those things where it's like, if I was Mr. I'm keeping it real, nah, you can't.
That reminds me of the Dave Chappelle skit.
But it's true when keeping it real goes wrong, right? Like, you know, like you got to cater to like, who drinks Arizona Ice-T's?
I don't even know, man.
Everybody, right?
I guess. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's just something that, you know, if you go to any convenience store, you got $1. All right. Yeah. Right. I mean, like, you get it anywhere, right? Okay. And there's a tour that's like probably partnered up with some other company or something like that, and it's like you just gotta play music to get people engaged. Okay. All right. What kind of music? Just fun music. What do you mean fun music? Because YG is fun music to some people, right? Taylor Swift's fun music to some people. Yeah, all of that. I'm not playing Taylor. What do you mean you're not playing Taylor Swift? We're doing a stop where we're stopping at her concert. We got a booth there. You can't. You got to play. All right, Ariana Grande. I don't mess with her either. Right? Like, these are all things that you got to kind of
like, you know what, man? Don't come. We'll get another DJ.
Exactly. Like, this is like, you know, like, I'm not saying like don't think about all the negatives for it's like, all right, do you know that you can handle a said situation? Be prepared to play whatever. Yeah. And being behind an artist is like, I don't want to be behind an artist that I'm not a fan of. You know, like, or not even be a fan of, or you don't rock with their music. That's kind of wrong, because you're up there selling like, oh, I love this person. You're like, I don't know. Be like, did you listen to no album? Yeah. Nah, I didn't listen to it. You know what I mean? But you up there singing the songs. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, let's go. And you like, yeah, this song's trash. You know, you're gonna get found out. If not, then you're a hell of an actor.
I think that's like seriously something that I consider about getting into in the future for my career. Is like DJing as a tour DJ for artists.
Yeah.
Because I've done it for like up and coming artists, you know, working with artists. Like a couple of them have hired me to go do like shows at their festivals and stuff. And it was really dope. Like, I really enjoyed it, but it was also an artist that I was involved with the creation of that music. You know what I mean? So like you said, I really knew where like the highlights were of the song, and that, right? Also, their manager booked like a rehearsal hall, and we rehearsed for like a day.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So like that was dope. And then I realized like, damn, this touring market is something I really enjoyed. And also working as an audio engineer, like I was doing like this thing for NBA All-Star Weekend. It was like this music festival for I think it was called No Jumper, like Jordan. The Jordan brand was like throwing a music festival or whatever. The headliner was Travis Scott, right? They had like SZA, Wiz Khalifa, like major artists, right? And I was not working as a DJ. I was working as an audio guy. And I was watching all these like touring DJs come on for these different sets. And I was like, damn, this is really something I could enjoy.
For sure.
You know what I mean? But it was all kinds of stuff, bro. Like, it was a full CDJ setup, and followed by the next touring DJ had the smallest
controller,
you know what I'm saying? And it was like some 15-year-old kid, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, what?
And I bet you there was a difference in that show.
Yeah, for sure.
Right,
for sure.
Right.
But, you know, it was just crazy, you know?
Yeah, because like I said, I'm not against it. I'm down if I know said person's music. All right, cool. I'm down to do it. And I also, like I said, my brother's a tour DJ. So, like, I would already have, like, his, 11-year experience that I can be like, all right, man, so what do you do when this happens? Just do this, do that, do it. Like, and I've seen it, firsthand. And
like, what's an example you can give of something? What happens? I mean, I work in events. I know like what you're referring to, but the listeners.
All right, so let's just say, for instance, like my brother's told me times where he's been on stage and he can't hear anything, right? And he's like, the quality's like, just gives him, got you, goes on with the show. He doesn't hear a word he said. I was like, he's like, I didn't hear a word he said to me. But that's because they've been working together for so many years. And they've built that trust in each other. He's like, all right, I know where this show's going. Like, he can look in the crowd and see, like, after we did this song, he knows what's up. So, like, just like how the artists you worked with, you can kind of be like, all right, I think this might work, because you're a DJ as well, like curating that list, be like, I think this would be a good time to drop this song right now because the energy's here. Or you see, people booed up and you're like, okay, there's a lot of love in here. There's a lot of girls here. Maybe we should do some of these girly songs, like more lean that way. And you just like, okay, all right. And if you know the songs that he's going to perform, and he was like, we keep those on the back burner. Those are things that I'm like, my brother's telling me, he's like, yeah. So he's like, if I could look around, I'm like, all right, there's X amount of girls in here. All right, I know the songs that we could perform. And he's like, I know he remembers the lyrics to these songs. Right? So he's like, all right, I'll throw these on. Stuff like that. I'm like, never thought about that. You know what I mean? Like, stuff like that. I'm like, would have never thought that. If he didn't tell me that, or even like half of the time he's like, I'm DJing with internal because of the bass. Like, if you're using turntables, you already know that feedback going through the rumbling through the needles, and last thing you need on Serato, we've all experienced it, needle jump somewhere and can't have that on stage when you got
did he hop on phase, since he's always like on big stages?
He got phase, like
he was like on that year. Quick. I bet.
Nah, he wasn't on quick. Nah, he was like, because he's had experience with like CDJs, so it's like, and like, it's no different than like DJing in clubs now. Like, you see way more CDJ setups than turntables. Yeah. So it's like, all right, may not be your preference, but if you not whatever Jazzy Jeff, you're not gonna get what you want unless you have like your writer and all that stuff that they asked for. But sometimes you may get those janky turntables that have been sitting in the closet for 7 years that never been serviced, or those brand new CDJs they just brought.
Yeah.
What are you gonna use?
Have you played on the CDJ 3000s?
Not the 3000s yet.
No?
I've used
dope.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I've seen them. I've never like turned them on and used them.
They're dope because the screen is huge, first of all, and then you see the waves of Serato and everything. They're essentially a controller, right?
Yeah.
So like, opposed to like the 2000s where you got to put the CD in there and whatever.
So here's the thing. Do you know about HID mode? So like, I use HID mode anytime I use CDJ. So it's just using it like a controller.
Yeah.
So it's like,
but you don't. But in HID mode on the 2000s, you don't see the waves on there, right, or nothing like that.
That's a good question.
And also,
no, you don't.
Also, I'm assuming the answer for this is yes. You can use the cue pads on the 2000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you also search the library?
Yeah.
You can search the library.
Yeah.
That's fucking sick.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
Damn, I got to do that at this casino I play because they have 2 rooms they put me in. One is like they got the 3000s, and another one they got the 2000s. But the one with the 2000s, they always got the CDs in there.
Yeah.
So I just been going off that. But it's mad annoying because I got to keep going back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
so I'm gonna give you a little gem. So you don't just loop the CD, man.
You loop it. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I did that a couple weeks ago, but for some reason I don't know. I just forget, and then I keep going back.
so
But
if you HID mode that, you would have access. So you're using Serato, right?
yeah,
Yeah. So you would have access to everything, library, all that stuff. You're like, oh, yep, okay.
see, this is why I got to sign up for a class with you, bro. See, self-taught.
I mean, and all you need is just a USB hub, some extra USB cables, which I know you already have.
Yeah.
And then just keep it on you. And anytime, like, all right, Nexus 2 setup, I'm straight. Boop, 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 ready to go.
That's sick.
And I'm sure on the 3000s, you'd be like, oh, this is beautiful.
It is. It's awesome. My first time getting on it, I was just like, wow, this is dope.
You're like, turntables, no more. It's almost like, I'm sure you've seen that new, the Pioneer controller that everybody's talking about.
Yeah, the one that just dropped like 3 days ago.
The Rev 7.
Yeah.
Everybody's, oh, you got to get that. And I'm like, who do you think I am? Like, you know, like, that thing's probably like 2 racks, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, I got the Rain 12. I got my regular turntables. I got phase now. I'm like, look, I got what I need for what's in front of me. You know, like, do I need to? Yeah, sure. I would love to have that as my mobile controller. Who wouldn't? But I'm like, do I need it? Am I going to sell off everything just to get that? I'm like, me personally, I'm going to say no. And I haven't touched it because I might touch it and be like, I don't like how this feels. Because I know the first time I ever used the Rain 12s, I thought they were trash.
Those are their version of the CDJ, right? Like a turntable but digital.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know if you remember. You remember when Newmark did that big, what was it called? I think it was called the CDX. They made like a big turntable, but it was for CDs. So this was like years ago, and I was like,
oh, I do remember. Yeah, and it was like
the size of a turntable, but it was only for CDs.
Yep.
So
I used to want that so bad.
Right. So that's essentially what the Rain 12 is, right? Because Rain and Newmark are all part of the same company now. So when I saw the Rain 12, I was like, oh, that's just the thing they made years ago, just updated to be a controller now. So when I first used it, I went to NAMM, and I'm like touching it, and I was like, some don't feel right. Like, ugh. I was like, like I come from turntable. I need immediate. I'm like, it works, but I don't know, man. And I remember one of my homies, like, he caught me on camera saying this. Like, so he's like a YouTuber now.
Yeah.
And like I was like, oh, what? You got me like candid camera style, like with this camera down here. I'm just speaking honestly and free, like it's not like you see me like, yo, you touched it. I'm like, yeah, man, them things is kind of whack, man. I'm like doing this. He's like, well, I don't know, man. It's like small little booth. I don't know what's going on. He's like, yeah, and I'm like, you done played me, man. You done played me.
Yeah, that's funny.
I mean, it's gonna be on YouTube, right? Y'all can go find it. I'm sure if you're a DJ, you might follow this dude, Cleveland Terry.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah,
there it is.
So go check out his channel and find the Rain 12 tie. You'll catch me speaking openly about like I don't like it. Then I got one and I was like, oh, okay.
I guess it's not that bad.
Well, I figured out like how to modify it. Like I said, I'm demoing something, so I don't know the nitty gritty of it. So I'm like,
that also reminds me of the Technique 1200Z.
The CDJ, yeah.
You know, like it was a silver thing.
Yeah, for sure.
It looked pretty sick.
Yeah.
I think the DJ, which I forget the name, that was doing the music with Mike Jones back in the day. It was like, Mike Jones, who? I feel bad because he's a pretty big DJ.
Michael 3000, 5000 watts. That dude?
No, I don't think that's him. Well, I don't know. It might be. Anyways, he's in a music video.
Okay. And
you see him scratching, and he has those.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was so long ago, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
I used to want those so bad, too.
Yeah, like I said, I've used all those things, and I was like, okay. Like, I remember the CDJ Techniques one, I used it the first time. I was like, it's okay. So, I don't know. I was like, the way you was talking about it's like my homie was like, oh man, it's the best thing. They're gonna kill the CDJs. And I was like, I've used the CDJ. I was like, I don't know, CDJ's all right. And then I used it. I was like,
Yeah, CDJs have definitely became like
they're the staple.
The staple.
They're like the 1200 of, I guess, CD players. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And then most people don't even use them for CDs anymore. They put a thumb drive in there.
Yeah. Well, even the 3000s they don't even have for the CD anymore.
Yeah, because
who the fuck uses CDs?
CDs aren't a thing anymore. You know.
So I mean? Like I was thinking that the Rain 12s were gonna take its place, but I feel like if they were, it would have happened by now.
But it's also like a thing of like name brand thing, right? So like Rain is not as big as the name Pioneer, right? So when you think of a club setup, what do you think of?
Pioneer.
Exactly. So if you're a venue owner or somebody and like majority of your DJs come in there and their rider says Pioneer this, Pioneer that, you're just gonna get all Pioneer gear, right?
Yeah.
So that's smart on Pioneer's end. They're like, all right, let's make a turntable.
Yeah.
Let's make this. Let's make everything so everybody just has, there's no excuse for you to not have a Pioneer brand. Mm-hmm. Where like Rain is like kind of like a little niche type thing. Even though like for DJs, we all know Rain. But the average person, Pioneer is known for CD players in their car. You know what I mean? Like speakers and all that stuff. Like, oh, my first 3D disc changer was a Pioneer thing. You know what I mean? Like, oh, they make DJing stuff? All right, I'll buy that.
Yeah.
What's this Rain thing? Never heard of that. Right? So it's like a thing like kind of almost tailored to only DJs. You know what I mean? So like, I'm not saying like, I have a Rain 72. I got all the. I'm a Rain dude. You know what I mean?
What setups are you seeing at like bars and clubs? Or have you seen anything other than Pioneer?
I want to say like most of the time I'm seeing 212s and a S9, Pioneer S9, or like usually the mixer is a Pioneer 900 or a Pioneer S9.
That's what I was gonna say. The 900
is like the staple.
It used to be the well, I feel like it was a staple, but then the like the S9 and the S11, is that the one with the screen?
Yeah,
I feel like that's kind of taken over the 900.
I mean, like I said, I don't know. Like it depends on venue to venue. Like, but like I know most big high end venues, they just have the CDJs and the 900 mixer. So like that's just what's in a club, you know. So it's like, okay, we may have like the S9 or S11, but they're gonna have that 900 mixer there because, from an audio engineer standpoint, how many things can you plug into that 900?
That shit's the bomb.
All right, exactly my point. So if you was the sound guy at whatever venue, all right, you want
so many options.
All right, we got the CDJs and the turntables here, right? Just swap out whatever you want.
Yep.
You could do that with the S9.
And it sounds great. Like the output of it.
Exactly. It's the top of the line club mixer. It's a club mixer. Yeah. I have a club. Let me get the club mixer, right? So
would make sense.
Exactly. Like I said, from a dummy standpoint. Like, I don't know anything. What do most DJs get? This one. All right. Here's the money.
All right, man. Let's keep it moving to the last and final topic is programming for Talib Kweli's radio station. You say you help out with that process. What's that process like?
So, I mean, long story short, the station is no more. It's no more. But it was something that, made me understand, like, any radio station, like putting together the playlist, all the music and all that. Cause it was like my brother was, what did he end up doing? Like Kweli was like, oh, I got this radio station with TuneIn Radio. And we're like, all right, cool. And I was like, well, he's like, yeah. He's like, my brother came and he's like, yeah, we're going to be running. I was like, what you mean we? He's like, yeah, me and you. He's like, yeah. He's like, you on board with this? And I was like, all right, cool. And I was like, in my head, I was like, I didn't know what that meant. You know what I mean? Like we got to do all the programming, figuring it out. And I guess maybe at the time somebody else was doing it and they're like kind of neglecting it. And my brother took over it. And I got to see the whole matrix, you know what I mean? Of like seeing all the songs in there, the listings of like, what are the songs you want to hear more of, the second songs and all that stuff. And then going on there, like if you're commercials are not right and all that stuff can throw everything out of whack, or like you got to listen to it to make sure everything's sounding right, because you may be like, oh, how this song has been playing on repeat for the last 15 minutes. Has it been like this for all day? Like, like, because that's happened. Like, something goes wrong where like an ad gets messed up or something. You got to go in there and fix it. You know what I mean? And also, like, I was like, okay, this is what happened at every radio station. This is just on a small internet radio. And then even from doing radio at the Heat and then what I do now, and like, I know when I'm like talking to a friend that does that stuff, or somebody like, oh, we got to do the program. I'm like, I know what you mean. Like, you got to make sure like this needs to be this long. Make it this long. Don't make it any longer.
That's why they're so strict on the length of the mix shows, right?
Yeah. Because if it bleeds over, it kind of like
fucks the whole thing up.
It messes up the whole matrix of the system to where it's like you bleed over and then the computer doesn't know.
Now, what happens when it's shorter? Is it better to be longer or shorter?
I've depending on whatever you're using to run it, it varies. So like, and this was also like 7 years ago. So I don't know how different it is now, but I know when we were doing stuff, it was like, okay, have all these songs, because there wasn't any like commercials per se. It was like no different like when you listen on Spotify, like some ad pops up. So we had to put these ad beds in there, obviously, to have TuneIn make their money, right? So we had to do this, but then there was like a workaround that we figured out how to like cheat the system to where you didn't have to hear. So like when you start to do funny stuff like that, it can mess things up, where like you put in a song that's a little bit longer, so each hour block, if it bleeds over a little weird, it throws everything out of whack. So it's like you got to make sure everything is dialed in all the way to the next day, and you're like, all right, we're good, you know. And like I said, it's different on each, I'm sure each station or each company has some different program where it may not be that you know, dialed in, but that's like real stuff that I didn't know anything about until I was doing that. And I was like, damn, man, like someone's like, hey, do you want to program a radio station? I know what that means. And I'm like, it's not just, oh, I'm gonna get this song, this song, this song, this song. Yeah, we're good. Nah,
it's not like making a playlist before you get in the shower.
Not even, because you do that's easy. You just grabbing songs. Yeah. So even if you are grabbing songs you like, you're not thinking about like the next hour and where like this is leading up to here. And if something's out of whack, like, oh, when it gets to this point or it says this, blah, 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 you need to go fix something, and maybe not have that song that's whatever 5 minutes at the end of that hour, put a song that's shorter, and then you got to put in some sort of ad break in there to fill out that time. So that way, when it starts the new hour, it starts smoothly.
Yeah.
I was like,
damn, it's a lot of shit that goes into programming.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't think about any of that. So I'm sure now there's a robot that you just, I hear the songs, it takes care of that. You know what I mean? But like at that time, like manually doing it, I'm sure there's people doing that all over right now, you know?
Right.
That I didn't know anything about. I was like, oh, wow. I thought I was just like, put in songs we think we want to have on the station, we're done. Nah, there was times where I was like, I tune in, I'll be somewhere, and I'm like, oh, man. Call them, hey, man, something's wrong. Like, it's been playing the song for the last 20 minutes. Oh, damn, man. You got it. And if you're not by a computer, I can't do it from my phone. All right, when we get home, we gotta fix this.
So that shit's going to play for another who knows what until you get to the computer.
So it might be playing that same song over and over, or that ad just keeps going and going and going. And I'm like, wow, who knew, right? Like, you know, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's so many layers to anything. Like I remember this is on a totally completely other subject, but like I got a taste of what it's like to see how TV stuff works. You know what I mean? Like I had no clue like how much goes into like being on a TV show and all that kind of stuff. I was like, I have a whole new respect for you know, any show that I watch, you know what I mean?
How did you get into that?
So like I had like I did extra work for the show Insecure.
Oh.
Yeah, so I got my 1 second shot on Insecure on the final episode, right? So like if you watch the final episode of Insecure, you see that DJ, that's me.
That's you.
That's me, baby. That's me. So that's me for sure. So I got hooked up to that through a friend who works in the industry, and she's a food stylist, and she was working on that show the whole season and just telling me all these crazy stories, and then she'd be like, there'd be DJs on set episodes. She'd be like, you know this DJ? I'm like, oh, I don't know. Oh yeah, I know her. Yeah, I know her. How do you know her? Blah blah. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know that person. And then like jokingly said, I was like, you ever need a DJ? Holla at your boy, right? And then her other friend that works on the show, he was a prop master, so that's the dude that provides all the things, right? Yeah. So they jokingly said, yeah, we're gonna try to get you on the show. I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah, sure, cool.
But in my head, I was like, whatever. If it happens, it happens. It doesn't happen, right? So they hit me up. Yeah, here you go. You're on the show now. I'm like, okay, right? So I'm like, literally, that 1 second scene you seen, I was there from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.
God damn.
Right.
What the hell happened there?
And that was just for one scene. And I was like, yo, like there was so much, like all them cut scenes, all that reshots. All right, we're gonna do it again. Truck drove by, just like when we had the air, something flew over, or you gotta do this, you gotta do that. Where's that blah blah? They didn't bring in the wrong thing. Something wrong. I ran out. Battery died. Like all these things are just like, oh, we gotta get it. The lighting wasn't right. Can you go back over here and do? I'm like, what the hell, man?
I'm trying to go home.
But in the same, I'm still getting paid, so I'm not tripping, you know what I mean? Yeah. But I'm still like, I'm tired. I'm there all day. I'm like, I was literally, as far as in front of a camera, I was only on front of a camera like total like 5 minutes. But I was there all day. And I was just like, wow, that's crazy. Like,
you didn't actually play any music?
Nah, it was all like faking the funk, you know what I mean? Like
that's always so awkward, dude. Like when I see DJs on TV, for like TV performances,
yeah,
right? Like why do they put a DJ back there? Like just
because but it's also like that DJ not a DJ. I'm a DJ, so I know how to make it look right. So like I remember even when people are like, "Oh, you're really a DJ," I'm like, "Yeah," because they're like, are you really a DJ? I'm like, yeah. Like, oh, okay, nice. like, cause like in their mind, like, if they have had real DJs on the show.
Yeah.
And I was like, when I got back there, they're like, oh, he's moving differently than someone that's just like, you know what I mean? Like, cause I even like, I'd put on my headphones and I have music playing in there so I can be moving to something. Yeah. Even if I had just one ear on, I still have something in my ear, so I'm just making the motions, not just like, so I'm like in my headphones, even though there's nothing, I'm doing everything like normal, so it looks like I'm doing something.
Yeah.
So I was doing that even like while they're playing, I'm just like playing the song. So like if they threw on like whatever song, oh, I got that song. Played and I'm like,
dope.
All those things. So I mean like that. And then I did another show, was called Tough as Nails, where I was brought on as like the DJ, right? So it was a reality competition show. And that was you
were competing?
No, I was the judge, right?
What?
So
that's sick.
So it's a like blue collar reality competition show. So like everybody on there is like, like construction workers, carpenters, like firefighters, and there was one girl that was.
So what the fuck are you judging? I mean, like.
so like I said, I'm getting there, right? Okay. So the episode they were showcasing roadies. Right, so people that set up concerts, things of that nature. Like people don't think of like, oh, somebody's got to build. You already know you do that, right? Yeah. So that's hard work. Would you say?
Yeah, like stagehand work. Yeah,
hard work, right? So these contestants are like, that's a blue collar work, right? So it's like nobody thinks of like somebody's got to put all this up and make sure the lights are here and blah blah blah. So, anyways, the show, well, one of my students is a co-creator of the show, and she was a executive producer, and her husband hosts the show. So she hits me up one day. She's like, "Hey, Grav, would you ever want to like do something on the show. Like we're doing an episode where it's all about roadies and this and that. We trying to think of an individual challenge for the contestants. And my husband has a great, actually, I'm gonna put on the phone. Puts me on the phone. This dude's firing up, talking all night. I'm like, I'm driving home. I pull over. I'm like, all right. He's like, so you interested? I'm like, yeah, sounds good. Sounds good, right? I'm like, okay. So I, long story short, the whole thing was like, they're supposed to go set up a DJ setup. So they got to set up turntables, speakers, lights, all that stuff, get it all wired up and then carry it from like, it was at the Wiltern. So they got to carry all this stuff from like the entrance into the main thing, set it all up, make sure it works. So I can go up there and go, good to go, right? So that was my job. Like I was done because I was the only one that knew if it was plugged up right. Cause I could look and like, yeah, those cables are in backwards. Ain't gonna work. So I'm looking, you got the XLR plugged into the wrong thing. Your lights are upside down. So I did all that, and then when it happened, like everybody, like nobody knew because it's on like CBS. So like if you got Paramount, you can go look it up.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
And then, like I said, you're gonna see me in the flesh.
Yo, that's dope. That's dope.
Yeah. So,
damn, bro, you've been all over the place. That's what's up, man.
I mean, but funny is like all that came through Scratch.
Yeah.
Like being an instructor at Scratch.
Yeah.
Like so tying
That's
it
what's up.
like being a DJ and, you know, capitalizing on opportunities and just, you know, like you said earlier, you never know who's gonna do what. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it can be like you said, casino thing. Now you connected to that. Like I didn't know like this lady. I was showing how to match, you know, new disco house music, like that she was connected to this TV show and she was gonna give me a job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, have me on network TV, like after Survivor. like, you know what I mean? Like,
that's sick.
Like, I was like, and now I'm like, oh, this is crazy. Like I'm gonna be the representation of DJing to whatever Johnny in Des Moines, Iowa, that doesn't know anything about DJing. Like, someone's like, I don't DJ. Pfft, that ain't a real job.
Yeah.
And I'm over there like, you know, talking about, and these guys are sweating bullets and carrying all this gear, and they're like, and then he's like, how much? He's like, the host was like, how much is each one of those turntables? I was like, like 40 pounds, man, depending. And he's like, really? It's like, yeah. He's like, so he's like, he's just doing the math. Like, dude's carrying 2 turntables, got something on his shoulders, got like 100 pounds. You already know, and I'm like, and then they're running back, and then like, because the main setup is already set up, I set it up, and it's like, here it goes. So they got to run, and I also made sure that they set the turntables up battle style.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that, and if it wasn't turned battle style, I couldn't say it was good to go. And
right.
I was always like, remember, pay attention to all the little details. Pay attention to the details. I'm like,
that's sick. I'm gonna have to check that out for sure.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
interested in watching that.
Yeah.
All right, cool, man. So to wrap this up, I got a segment that I like to do. It's called Story Time, right? And I have the guest share an interesting story that's related to what they do. Obviously, DJing. So do you have any crazy stories of like a gig gone wrong?
Gig gone wrong.
Like the gear's just not working, or some, you know, crazy client, just like a story that sticks to your head about one time I was at a gig and this and this and this went down.
Let's see here. All right, this is not crazy, but it is crazy. So like myself and my brother, we DJ at this spot called the Dime, and like all the time they'd be like, because the Dime is known for like hosting like a comedy thing, so comedians will come in there all the time and hang out. Mm-hmm. And I remember like one of the bouncers be like, oh, we got Dave Chappelle coming tonight. So when I heard that, I'm like, I hope not, right? So people are like, why would you say that? Because it's like, I want to go home. So he ended up not coming. And then I knew when I did, like myself and my brother DJ'd a night with Kweli there. So I was like, there's probably going to be a time. He's going to show up tonight because Kweli and Dave Chappelle are friends. So we're DJing the night. Night goes, Kweli shows up, and I don't know if I should be saying this, but he shows up a little tipsy.
Okay.
A little hungover from the night before. I didn't know this, but my brother was like, oh, yeah, he was a little turned up from the night before he was hanging out with Dave. So comes there. He ends up leaving after he does a set. He just dips out, right? So my brother in there, we just finished out the night. Guess who shows up? Dave shows up, and my brother was like, "Oh man, we about to be here all night. We got to be here all night, man." Because my brother just had like his daughter was just born, so he's dead tired. He just wants to go home. He's burned out, and Dave shows up, and then we're like, "Oh, great, we're gonna be here all night, man." Because Dave, I guess when Dave shows up, he wants to stay all night. He walks in there, lights a cigarette, just enjoying life. Who's gonna tell Dave Chappelle not to do that? So we're there.
And he's like doing a set, or
he's just hanging out. He's just hanging out, just having drinks.
So when that happens, the normal business hours don't apply.
Don't apply at all.
We close at 2, but since you're here,
it was already 2.
Wow.
So like
that's so much power, bro. As a human, I'm just show up wherever the fuck I show up.
Hops in, walks in there, and I'm like, oh, we're about to be here all night, man. And I'm tired. My brother's tired, and we're the DJs. We gotta play music. So I remember my brother was DJing, and I see Dave making his way. And the dime's not a big spike. He walks up to my brother, and I'm just standing on the side, like he's standing in front of me, and he's talking to my brother, and I just hear him like going back and forth, and I hear him go like, all I'm seeing is all the like mannerisms, like, and I'm like, what are they talking about? You know what I mean? Long story short, my brother's like, he's asking like, yo, where's Kweli at? And my brother's like, yo, he left. He's like, what do you mean he left? I told him I was coming. And like, yeah, he said he was hanging out with you, and you got him drunk or something like that. And he was like, I didn't mean to do that, or blah blah blah. And then like I said, that was a crazy story. I thought I would never have I would never run into Dave Chappelle. And then like I ran into him a couple of times, like where I'm like, this dude just like showed up to a show, because like I'm a fan of Kweli, so like my brother has access to her, where like they was doing a Black Star show at the Microsoft Theater. I think it was a Microsoft Theater or I don't know, one of those places at LA Live, right? So I show up, I get my tickets, I'm gonna go in there. I'm thinking like, all right, I just got a ticket, I'm going there. I end up seeing one of my brother's friends that used to like tour manage him. He's like, hey, what's up, man? Come on, let's go to the back. I was like, I don't know if I got clearance for that. He's like, man, you good, man. We go to the back. Now I'm like, I don't want to be in the green room. I'm just sitting there hanging out. I'm just like, this is kind of
like, I want to be out there where the action is.
I just want to watch the show. You know what I mean? I'm just sitting there like, this is cool. I mean, like, the show's going on. I'm sitting in this green room, and I'm like, this is kind of boring. So anyways, Kweli shows up. He walks in. He's like, hey, what's up, man? He walks in with the whole crew. It's Dave, Donnell Rawlings, the whole. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, oh, the whole crew's here. And then Kweli's like, hey, man. Like, he knows me. He knows I'm his DJ's brother. So he's like, hey, man, what do they call you? Right? So Dave's like, Mac Mittens. What am I gonna do, right? What am I gonna say? I can't say this guy is a professional comedian, but he's like Mac Mittens. I was like, I'll take it, sure, right? So anybody else like, and in my head I was like, he said Mac Mittens. I know Beanie Siegel's nickname is Mac Mittens. Does he think I look like Beanie Siegel? I just asked no questions. I just took it because everybody's like, I fall out. I'm like, thanks, Dave. You know what I mean? But thanks for these stories, man.
So the amount of times that you've been around Dave, man, do you think he obviously recognizes you, right? If he would see you somewhere, probably?
I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it.
Well,
like,
there
to
it
me,
is.
it's like, yo, it's Dave Chappelle. Like, it's going to live in my head forever.
Yeah.
Him and some dude.
Mac Mittens.
Yeah, I was like, he's like, what's everybody call you? Like, I was like, oh, my DJ's great. He's like, Mac Mittens. I was like,
there it is.
What am I gonna say, right? What am I gonna say back?
By far one of the best story times here on the show, man. All right, brother. Well, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, man.
DJ Gravity, go ahead, let them know where they can find you and all that good stuff.
Yeah, hit me up on social media at DJ Gravity1, DJGravity1.com. Just hit me up, and you got to spell everything out. That's DJGRAVITYONE. Hit me up, say what up.
Let's go. You're locked in. It's Squad Talk.
Squad!